Hello fellow TV and film fanatics, I'm Greg and I make recommendations for TV shows and movies that you can access from the comfort of your own home. And I feel like it is a great time to be a binge watcher right now with new cinematic quality shows popping up all the time, but today I want to shine some light on some shows that I consider hidden gems. And I know that not every show feels like a hidden gem to everyone, but these are shows that for one reason or another feel overlooked or underrated to me, but are absolutely worth watching. But as always, stop mindlessly scrolling, stop wasting your time, let's jump in and check it out.
Change our luck?
Where will this highway go?
I don't know.
Florida. No.
You're from there.
Yes, and I'm going back.
So first up, we do get Florida Man, which is a Netflix series starring Edgar Ramirez as Mike Valentine, who is this down on his luck ex-cop who returns to Florida to track down a mobster's runaway girlfriend. And what starts as this simple job quickly spirals into a chaotic ride full of unexpected twists, and we see Mike dig deeper into it, and he ends up getting entangled in family drama, local crime, and his own troubled past. First, if you are unfamiliar with the Florida Man meme, just go to Google, put in your birthday followed by Florida Man, and trust me, it is wild what you'll see. And the show itself, it plays off of that meme a little bit, offering some absurd and over-the-top energy, but at its heart, Florida Man is actually this intriguing crime mystery series with dark humor and some surprisingly emotional moments that elevate it beyond just a meme show. And when I started watching this, the mystery is actually a key draw for me. It's full of solid twists, and the narrative keeps you hooked in with its unpredictable turns. Plus, you have Ramirez and then Abby Lee, who are the lead characters here, delivering strong performances with these characters that feel real and layered, and despite it being just a short 7-episode series, it does give both these characters time to develop, exploring their motivations and the emotional baggage that they carry. I will say though, this show isn't without its hiccups. One, the pacing is a bit uneven at times, but mostly for me it was the supporting characters that are played by solid cast members that often are these weird and over-the-top characters which take you down rabbit hole subplots that really end up going nowhere. And the reviews that I read were a bit divided on this one too. Some praised the performances and the quirky mystery you get to go along with, while others found the pacing and that convoluted plot a bit much. But in the end, I think the good outweighs the bad with this one for sure, making Florida Man worth checking out.
People have tried to make me into something I'm not.
Next, let's dive into another Netflix series here that has a bit of a cult following because of its source material. This is Warrior Nun. The story here follows a young woman who wakes up in a morgue with a second chance at life and a divine artifact embedded in her back. But now she is part of this secret group of warriors who battle demons on Earth. I personally really enjoy this type of show. You have a little bit of that Mortal Instrument fighting demons element here. You've got some Dan Brown religious conspiracy stuff, and then even superpowers. And it's a lot to enjoy. Now, it's not the most original premise, but I did not mind this unique spin on these familiar themes. First, they do a solid job mixing in the fantasy, the action, and those religious themes into a surprisingly engaging story. The action delivers solid fight choreography and impressive effects, bringing the fantasy world to life with interesting monsters, the cool powers, and actually some violently bloody moments throughout the series. But I do want to say it's definitely not as much action as you would expect from watching the trailer or from a show with warrior in its name. Then where things get a bit up and down for me here is the dialogue itself. You have a great group of badass characters led by Alba Batista, who seems to embrace the physical elements of this role and has a great on-screen presence. And I know this is certainly not the cast's fault. They do the best they can with what they've given, but it is really hard to get fully invested in these characters when some scenes are just packed full of cheesy, cliche-filled writing. Even with that though, the show has mostly positive reviews, and if you can live with that fun premise, the action and visuals over some cringy dialogue, the show is absolutely worth giving a shot.
In our time, many years from now, humanity's been all but wiped out. We've come back to change that.
Huh. 3 seconds.
This next title is probably going to be the one that I get the most crap about in the comment section, but I really love this show and I do not think it is talked about enough, and I make the list, so this is Travelers. This show is set in a post-apocalyptic future where humans figure out a way to send consciousness back through time. The only catch is that these travelers are sent into people's bodies on the verge of death in the 21st century and are now tasked with preventing the events that led to the future apocalypse. And if you watch my channel, you know that I love time travel as a concept just in general. I recommend time traveling shows a lot, but this concept of sending consciousness back to inhabit other people's bodies is fascinating to me. It's a thought-provoking idea that gives this show so many cool wrinkles that they can play with, allowing this quality sci-fi series to dive into the human side of things a lot. This show is not just about preventing disasters, it explores ethical and emotional dilemmas that these travelers face as they try to live out these secret new lives while fulfilling these massive missions. It really is smart sci-fi that balances action, adventure with deep character-driven drama. And I had a hard time really putting my thumb on anything that I really disliked about this one. I mean, it can be a bit of a slow burn at times, mainly during the setup of the series. So honestly, the really only true negative to me is the tragic cancellation of it. And to this day, I still hold out hope that they'll figure a way out to bring this back. But if you're like me, you like sci-fi, you like time travel, this is a great show.
You seem like two people. Split attention between piping and God knows what.
Let's move forward and talk about an option that you can catch on Freeview right now, and this is Patriot. This series follows John, a CIA operative who goes undercover as a mid-level employee at an industrial piping company to prevent a nuclear disaster. And when I first started watching this, I did expect just another spy thriller series here, but Patriot is actually a dark comedy wrapped in drama, mystery, and thrills, full of unexpected and often absurd twists. And while some of the shows on today's list play with familiar or recycled concepts, Patriot completely breaks that mold with its unconventional tone and offbeat humor. I also loved Michael Dorman in this. He is outstanding as John, delivering a captivating performance as the conflicted and broken character. The series dives deep into his emotional and psychological struggles as he navigates this bizarre undercover mission. And it's not just Dorman, the supporting cast also delivers some top tier performances here, so hats off to the casting team just overall for this one. And then despite what feels like a smaller budget, the show is actually beautifully shot with a unique style that really sets it apart. But with that being said, this is another title where the pacing feels a little bit slow at times, so if you are looking for a fast-paced spy thriller series, this might not be for you. And unfortunately, it is another hidden gem that did get canceled. Still, critics praised it for its originality, Dornan's performance, so if you can handle some open-ended plot points, Patriot is definitely worth giving a chance.
Find anything?
Maybe you'll strike gold.
Yes.
No gold?
Nope. You found any gold?
Oh, Jesus.
Next up is a series that you can catch on Acorn TV, but this is the series Detectorists, which is a word that I seem to mess up every time I say it, but this is a British comedy series about two misfit friends, Andy and Lance, who are part of a local metal detecting club, and while they dream of finding buried treasure, their outings are really about escaping the daily grind and enjoying each other's company. It's a wholesome, heartwarming comedy series that explores friendship, midlife crises, and finding the meaning in everyday life. And yes, this show is very funny, but the humor in it is very subtle. It's very observational, it's less laugh out loud, but it's full of moments that make you chuckle and smile. It kind of just makes you feel good while you're watching it. And it was created and directed by Mackenzie Crook, who also stars alongside Toby Jones as these lead characters. And the show itself shines thanks to their standout performances and their incredible chemistry. And they picked the perfect backdrop for this series here. It matches the tone of the show. It's cozy, it feels relaxing, and very beautiful cinematography on this English countryside setting. And yes, the characters in this one are quirky, but they're very relatable. Their personal struggles and their small triumphs that they get make them very easy to root for. So if you enjoy subtle humor, great performances, and a unique friendship, this one's a fun and rewarding watch.
Every extra year I give to a patient, I know that at the very least, something has been won.
Next up on our list is a dark and gritty medical drama set in the 20th century New York City, and this is The Knick. The show itself follows Dr. John Thackeray, played by Clive Owen, who is this brilliant but arrogant surgeon pushing the boundaries of medicine with groundbreaking and often controversial techniques at a time when medical knowledge was very limited. I'll start off by saying that this is a very interesting show, injecting a lot of different elements beyond just a medical drama. It can really be hauntingly eerie, sometimes feeling more like a horror story, while also diving deep into the raw realities of this era with a lot of dark themes that they take head on. And then you have these surgical sequences that are absolutely wild, packed with this raw intensity that almost feels like a battlefield, with tons of blood and gore and disturbing situations as they use these very unrefined medical methods. To be honest, it really delivers some unforgettable moments. And on the brighter side, Clive Owen, he is great in this series as Dr. Thackeray, bringing complexity and depth to this troubled genius. darkness. And despite some of those unforgettable gory moments, overall the show is visually stunning with incredible period detail that creates a gritty and immersive world. And this might just be me, but I thought it was a fascinating look at the brutal history of medicine, packed with intense and gripping moments. But the series actually makes you feel really smart because it is a medical series, but you know more than the doctors here. But again, maybe that's just me. And I know that some of the elements in this series are not for everybody, which is probably why the show isn't as mainstream as it could be. But if you're into hard-hitting dramas with stellar performances and bold storytelling, then Knick is definitely worth checking out.
What was wrong with the stairs?
It's a long story involving multiple deaths.
Yeah, this is much safer.
I never lasted this long. Those things are finished!
So let's head back to Netflix for our next pick here, and this is the series Russian Doll, which is a dark comedy series that follows Nadia, who is a cynical game developer who finds herself trapped in a time loop, dying and reliving the same night over and over again at her birthday party. And yes, the premise itself must remind you of Groundhog's Day or Happy Death Day, but Russian Dolls really brings its own existential twist to the story. The show is packed with sharp, dark humor that blends seamlessly with some surprisingly deep emotional moments as Nadia wrestles with her mortality and past traumas. We see the series start to explore themes of self-destruction and her need for human connection. And just when you think that it can't get any stranger, she makes a shocking discovery that totally changes the game. And even if the time loop concept feels overdone for you, I'd still recommend Russian Dolls for Natasha Lyonne's incredible performance alone. She completely owns this role, bringing a cool, magnetic presence that makes Nadia's unraveling journey impossible to look away from. That said, this is another one that's probably not for everybody. The dark and cynical tones of this can make it feel a bit depressing at times, but if you're into stories that push the boundaries of dark comedy, have thought-provoking themes, and again feature a strong performance from its lead, this one is definitely worth a watch.
You're the only person that can do this job, and I need this done.
So let's move forward and talk about a stylish and action-packed crime thriller series, and this is Jett. This series here follows Daisy Jett Kowalski, who is a world-class thief fresh out of prison and is now determined to leave her criminal past behind for the sake of her young daughter. But of course, things don't go as planned. Soon she is pulled back into this world of crime by a dangerous and eccentric group of criminals eager to exploit her skills. And this is another title where the cast is a major draw. You have Carla Gugino here bringing the main character to life, balancing the skill, resourcefulness, and emotional depth of this character, and she's also backed by a strong supporting cast, including Giancarlo Esposito, Jodie Turner-Smith, Christopher Backus, that keep this story unpredictable and engaging with their own goals and their own secrets and motivations throughout. And this show honestly looks very cool and sounds very cool. It has a very stylish aesthetic, it has detailed set designs and top-notch wardrobe, along with a really cool musical score that enhances the show's sleek, high-stakes feel. And again, it's an action-packed crime thriller, so if you love action, this one does deliver, featuring some intense heist sequences and thrilling chase scenes. But unfortunately, despite some solid reviews, Jett was canceled after just one season, leaving again some plot threads unresolved. But if you're into gripping thrillers with a strong cast and a stylish execution, I would definitely check this one out.
Time gone.
It's a easy twit.
I'll let you loose for one of them.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Aren't you a bit old?
There are a few on this list here that I have recommended before, and the first one of those is this series here, Happy Valley, which is a British crime drama series that first aired in 2014. The show itself follows Sergeant Catherine Kaywood, who is a dedicated police officer still haunted by her daughter's death. We see the show start to pick up when a local goes missing, and she uncovers a tangled web of crime that quickly escalates beyond her rank. And then on top of that, she's juggling the challenges of raising her grandson, supporting her troubled sister, and dealing with a failing marriage. And I love the title of this one, Happy Valley. I think it is so ironic because this show is anything but lighthearted. It dives deep into crime, grief, redemption, delivering a raw, realistic portrayal of a community weighed down by tons of darkness. The story itself, it's suspenseful, it's gripping, with twists and turns that keep you hooked in all the way from start to finish. And then like other shows on this list, Happy Valley stands out from a compelling cast of characters and exceptional performances. Sarah Lancashire is phenomenal in this show as Catherine. She's flawed, she's determined, she's really an unforgettable character, and she's backed up by a cast that includes James Norton, Siobhan Finneran, and Charlie Murphy, all of whom bring intensity and depth to their roles. And this series actually was only originally intended to ever be a single season miniseries, but Happy Valley became critically acclaimed, and then it was returned for a second season in 2016, and then a third more recently in 2023. So if you love crime dramas with character development and gripping suspense, this one's a must watch.
My name is Jay.
Laura. So what's your story?
You're a great fighter with an average record.
What do you want to do with this information?
Another title that I have recommended before here is one of my favorites on our list here today, and this is the series Kingdom. This is a gritty and intense drama series set in the world of mixed martial arts. We do follow Alvy, played by Frank Grillo, who is a former MMA fighter now turned gym owner, struggling to keep his business afloat while training the next generation of fighters, all while navigating the complicated relationships with his sons. And despite the action-packed setting of this series, at its core, Kingdom is an emotional family drama that digs deep into themes of addiction, betrayal, redemption, and Frank Grillo delivers a powerhouse performance in this series, bringing both strength, vulnerability to his role as this very flawed yet very compelling character. To me, this is one of my favorite performances that Frank Grillo has ever given. And to throw more on top of that, you have just as strong a supporting cast. You have Jonathan Tucker, who is outstanding in this one, and then we get solid performances from Nick Jonas, Matt Loria, Keely Sanchez, each adding just more depth to this story with their own personal struggles that they face. And even with it being that emotional family drama, this show doesn't hold back from the raw, brutal side of MMA. It offers a realistic glimpse into the grueling physicality and mental demands of the sport, with intense and brutal fight scenes throughout, both in and out of the octagon. Overall, Kingdom is a gripping series that blends raw emotion with brutal intensity of the fight world. The only real downside for me in this one is that it didn't last as long as it deserved, and it's not talked about as much as it should. So if you're into action-packed dramas with real emotional depth, this should definitely be at the top of your list.
Hard to believe this piece of shit used to be the best detective in the whole department.
And I like all the shows that are on our list here today, but I really love this next one. And this one I have talked about recently, and I said this the last time, but if everything so far has felt too normal for you, then I've got the perfect pick for you here, and this is Happy. This series is based off of a graphic novel of the same name and follows Nick Sachs, who is a washed up, drug addicted ex-cop turned now disturbing hitman. And after he's left for dead, he is quickly resuscitated, only to start hallucinating a small blue winged unicorn named Happy. And as it turns out, Happy is the imaginary friend of a young girl who was kidnapped by a deranged man dressed as Santa Claus. So now with Happy's bizarre guidance, Nick embarks on a grueling, violent, and twisted rescue mission. So like I said, Happy is anything but normal. It does feature this anti-hero who dies multiple times, talks to imaginary creatures, and barely takes anything serious throughout the entirety of this series. So it's this wild mix of graphic violence, dark humor, and fantasy, making it a truly unique experience. And if you're watching the trailer on screen right now, you will see that Christopher Maloney is the main character here, this psychotic, badass lead character. His performance is way better than you'd expect. Completely ridiculous, over the top, and excessively violent in the best possible ways. And yes, this is the same Christopher Maloney from Law & Order SVU. Then backing up is Patton Oswalt, who voices the blue-winged unicorn Happy here, and they have excellent chemistry together. It's absolutely hilarious, adding some fun to all the madness going on in this series. So if you're in the mood for something dark, twisted, and completely out of left field, Happy is a must-watch.
Ever thought of joining the FBI?
No, I haven't.
Looking for people outside of law enforcement.
The next show was actually recommended to me in the comments a while ago and even made my list of top Hulu originals because it was a solid option, and this is Class of 09. This is a suspenseful thriller miniseries that follows a group of FBI agents who graduated from Quantico back in 2009, and the story itself unfolds across 3 distinct timelines. We have their training days, their present, and then the future, where artificial intelligence has drastically reshaped the criminal justice system. As the FBI grapples with these changes, a mysterious death from their past resurfaces, bringing the former classmates all back together. And to be honest, when I heard about this one, I was instantly intrigued by the premise of this show. You have interwoven timelines, unveiling a strange mystery, and then some really thought-provoking uses of AI and law enforcement. And on top of that, this is led by Brian Tyree Henry and Kate Mara, who do provide strong performances. And what I really enjoyed about their performances was watching them play these characters across multiple time periods, making subtle changes to their performances and evolving as they confront past and present challenges. As a fan of crime thrillers, I thought the production team did a good job of building tension and keeping you guessing too throughout this series, but I do like to be honest with my recommendations. I like this series, yes. It has certainly kept me engaged and I enjoyed the acting, but I did feel like some of the components could have been used better throughout, and I'm not going to really dive too deep into that because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who's going to check this one out. But if you're into crime thrillers, Class of '09 is a quick binge with only 8 episodes. It's definitely worth checking out.
Yes, of course we're open for business. I just need your event info, and I will help you get the party started.
This next title is probably the most laugh out loud style option on today's list, and this is Party Down. This series is a workplace comedy that follows a group of aspiring actors in Los Angeles who, while waiting for their big break, work as low-budget caterers. Right from the get-go, the show takes a hilarious look at the absurdities of Hollywood, the personal struggles of these characters, and the often over-the-top situations that they find themselves in while catering these various parties. And if you enjoy a cast with excellent chemistry that is constantly going back and forth with sharp, witty dialogue, this is definitely the show for you. It keeps you laughing constantly with hilarious situations and quotable lines, making it a great pick for fans of clever humor. And then the characters are super relatable. Even though they're chasing their dreams out in Hollywood, these are flawed human characters, making it very easy to connect with them. Plus, the cast itself is stacked with comedic talent, including Adam Scott, Ken Marino, Martin Starr, Jane Lynch, Lizzie Kaplan, plus a ton of A-listers in supporting roles. And I'm honestly not really sure why this never reached the same levels as some of the other workplace comedies out there, but does seem to at least have a very loyal cult following over the years, and even made a comeback after a 13-year hiatus, which did bring some more attention to this hidden gem. But if you haven't checked this out, either in the original run or its revival, and love sharp, witty comedies with a stellar cast, this one should be at the top of your watch list.
What do you do?
When someone says something's impossible, I prove it's possible.
This next pick is probably the oddest one on our list here today, and this is the Prime Video series Tales from the Loop. This series was actually inspired by the art book of Simon Stalenhag and explores the interconnected lives of people who live above the loop, which is this mysterious machine designed to unlock and explore the mysteries of the universe. It is an interconnected anthology series that dives into the strange and sometimes unsettling consequences of scientific progression in a small town. And right from the instant you start watching this, you are going to notice its stunning visuals. The cinematography captures this eerie beauty of this world, blending retro futuristic technology with natural landscapes to create a visual experience that feels very one of a kind. And they do this by using a lot of practical sets with some CGI that's built into. And the show itself, it does have quality actors in it, but there's actually very minimal dialogue in it, and the story is told mostly through what you see on screen and using this outstanding sound design to guide your emotions through each scene. And then beyond the visuals, the show is also very thought-provoking, delving into themes of family, loss, and the nature of reality. It's a series that will definitely make you think, offering a unique and atmospheric experience that's both captivating and at times, like I said, even unsettling. And this is one on the list where I do kind of understand why it might not have impacted the mainstream. It's a bit odd, it's a bit quirky, and it does feel a little bit more artsy, where you get some slow pacing and a lot of character soul-searching going on throughout the series. And I understand that that might not be for everyone, but if you are looking for stunning visuals and a unique sci-fi anthology series packed full of emotion, this is definitely worth giving a shot.
Shut me on the side of the street. I won't say anything. I won't say anything.
No.
And last but not least on our list here today is the series Culprits, which is a series that flew completely under my radar when it was released. And I watch a lot of shows and I do try to keep up with things pretty well, so either I missed it or it is a true hidden gem here. And this one here is a suspenseful heist thriller that follows a group of criminals who, after pulling off a major heist, have gone their separate ways to live seemingly normal lives. But when a ruthless assassin starts hunting them down one by one, they are forced to confront the consequences of their past actions and the dark secrets that they've been hiding. I'll start by saying that this one is a mature rated show, so you can expect exactly what flashed into your mind when I said that. But what really hooked me when I started watching this one was the constant sense of suspense. You do have this Ocean's 11 style heist itself going on, and then the events in the present timeline that keep you on the edge majority of the show. You really never know what's coming next, when the assassin's gonna strike, strike, who's going to make it out even alive? It really checks all the boxes for an intriguing thriller, and the narrative itself keeps you guessing too, with plenty of twists and turns that will keep you hooked all the way to the end. This one stars Nathan Stewart Jarrett, Gemma Arterton, and Kirby Howell-Batiste, and some others that make up this interesting crew you follow along with. And yes, with a heist thriller, you're going to get some action, some adventure, suspense, and all of that, but they actually do a really good job developing the characters throughout this series, even at times feeling like a character-driven drama that dives deep into motivations, their emotions, backstories of the characters. Now, you'll probably need to suspend some logic to fully enjoy this one, but if you are in the mood for that thrilling, character-driven survival mystery style show, you could do way worse than Culprits. And that's going to do it for our list today, everybody. So thanks for hanging out with us all the way to the end of the video. I do really appreciate it. And if you're looking for more recommendations, you can check out these videos down below. But thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.